Well, hello everyone. I am Matt Williamson. You probably know that by now, but we have some new listeners as always. Welcome. Spread the word. This has been very popular, especially on YouTube. Please do me a favor and go follow my YouTube channel. It's kind of hit a bit of a lull. I haven't done a good enough job pushing it, to be very honest with you. But we are here to talk about one very obvious subject. The Steelers extended Mike Tomlin's contract, and he will be the coach for the foreseeable future. You can always get out of these deals, of course. He could retire. You know, you can still fire coaches when they're under contract. You just eat the contract, basically. So I'm here to tell you this is the right move. I 100% believe that. It's a move I would make. I think they have a really good thing going. I think he's one of the top 5 coaches in the league right now. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach, even if he would not have another season under his belt. And he still has a lot of football left in him. And he obviously loves it and is good at it, frankly. So that being said, I have 2 columns here in front of me. I actually have notes, which is rare for me. And I have some negatives to talk about first. So his game management still makes me a little crazy. When the Steelers hired him way back when, he had never been a head coach at any level. And I thought his first couple of years on the job, his game management, and when I say game management, timeouts, challenges, I mean, his challenge stuff has been really bad amongst other coaches. I'm not exactly sure what their challenge system is, but it needs reworked. Maybe it's not all on him. Every team does that differently, but it needs to be evaluated. But his game clock management / timeout usage, things of that nature, I still think is a weakness. I strongly feel that way. And when he was hired early on, I excused it because he never was a head coach at any level. How would he be good at game management if you've never been a head coach, even at the high school level or junior high? You know what I mean? And I think it's gotten better, but it's not a strength at all. That worries me. I do not like his game management stuff. Rarely, I almost always have a complaint or two. And if you listen to the podcast, we talk about games right after, and I cite that often. This one I hesitate to bring up, but his hiring of offensive coordinators to me has not been very innovative. And I do think a lot of it was hamstrung / linked to Ben. You want your stud quarterback to be comfortable, to be happy. And I do think some of the coordinator decisions were with that in mind and for the greater good, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I really think the Canada hiring was poor at the time and even got worse. To his and the team's credit, they at least got out from that midway through the season, which is a super un-Steelers-like thing to do. But I never understood the hiring. I never understood sticking with them as long as they did. The fact that coordinators have not gone on from Tomlin's tree to have great success or even get hired does not really bother me. I will tell you, coaches, because this team is so stable, will stay with the Steelers as opposed to maybe getting a small raise to go elsewhere. And that's not a coordinator to head coach thing. Of course, they'll take head coaches' jobs. But you don't want to go from running back coach to running game coordinator with the Titans and then get fired the next year. Stay here. It's stable. You win, good organization, all that stuff. But so I don't really hold that part against them, but I do think the offensive coordinator hires before Arthur Smith were less than imaginative, to be honest with you. Of course, we have to address lack of playoff success lately. Not through his whole tenure. He's got a lot of playoff success and a lot of wins and, Super Bowl title. But the lack of playoff success lately is very real. I mean, there's no way around it. It's not good enough. Now, I'm going to sound like a Tomlin apologist, and frankly, I am, because I think he's a top 5 head coach and a Hall of Fame head coach. And I would make this contract extension 10 out of 10 times. I think there's plenty of instances, especially the last 4 or 5 years, where this team has no business being a playoff team. And the fact that he got them in is a win in itself. And then if you get eliminated quickly after, that looks terrible. But wouldn't it look worse if you were 6-11? You know what I mean? And never got in there. And the 20th best coach in the league, I think with some of these teams, Duck Hodges, would be 6-11, and you wouldn't even have this conversation. So there's something to be said for that. And frankly, I'm not sure many teams have had worse quarterback play over the last 5 years, give or take, than the Steelers. We know this is a quarterback-driven league. It absolutely is. And we'll get to more to that in the positive side. But he's winning games with well below average quarterback play. That's hard. That's really hard. There aren't many instances in the last 10, 15 years when the league has become this quarterback-driven. The teams hover around 500 or are over with bottom of the league quarterback play. I mean, bottom of the league quarterback play. Last one, and I think there's a lot of validity to this one, but I also think people around here overreact to it. And last year was a terrible example against the Patriots and Cardinals, losing to teams, I'm putting this in quote, that you should beat. First off, this is not college. Alabama beats Alabama State 1,000 out of 1,000 times. The league is not like that. You slip up, you get some bad bounces, you take a team lightly, whatever reason, you can get beat bad in this league. I mean, you can't just roll the ball out there and win games in the NFL. And I've been using this example. If you go, any betting site, Bet Online, our friends, and you look at every Niners game this year, they have 17 games. There's a spread this year. The Niners are favored in all 17 games this year. So if they don't go 17-0, is Shanahan a bad coach? You know what I mean? They're going to lose games. You lose games that you're favored in this league. That just happens. Have the Steelers had a little more of them than you'd like? Yes. And last year, that Cardinal-Patriot situation was as bad as it got, you know? I mean, these are bad football teams. But there's also something to be said for winning all your Monday nighters and things of that nature. And we'll get to those positives here in a minute. BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, now the positives. There is an art to knowing how to win games in this league. And at any given time, I think there's 15 to 20 human beings on the planet that know how to win games in this league. Bill Belichick's not in the league right now, but he's one of them. You know, I guess we could go back to Bill Parcells is still alive. He's one of them. You know, so there's more than that, I guess. But you know what I'm saying? There are some guys who walk the planet that know how to win games in this league, and the Steelers head coach is one of them. And I think one of the greatest reasons for that is he has a tremendous, tremendous feel for his team, for his organization, for his players, for his locker room. Maybe not the best way to use them on the field, X's and O's wise, but the best way for the team to be a team, I guess is the best way to put it. So I think that goes without saying. We happened to just talk about this last week. He has been, outside of Andy Reid, basically the best coach in the league at beating his division. Has immense importance. I mean, if you consistently win divisional games, you'll consistently be in the mix. Huge. And that is not an accident to me. I think that is a great knowledge of your closest opponents, your greatest enemies. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, as I love to say. But that is not an accident to me. He also, like a couple great coaches, Belichick come to mind, Pete Carroll was this way, has a real feel for winning one-score games. The analytics people will tell you that's always going to regress to the mean. Well, it hasn't for this guy. I mean, he knows how to grind out the tough, hard-fought games, which correlates very much with AFC North football, of course. Ravens Steelers are never going to be 20-0, 50-0. But his style of coaching has also changed over the years. You know, the Killer Bees, Ben in his prime, throwing to AB. Tomlin didn't coach the same way as he does now, trying to get the team to win 13-9. Again, that's knowing your team, understanding your team's strengths and weaknesses. They have not had good quarterback play. They have not thrown passing touchdowns. Yet he grinds out tough wins. It's not pretty. That's not the goal here. Last couple things I have, and I'm sure there's many, and please leave me comments of your strengths and weaknesses. He has a very good scouting prowess, and he loves it from all accounts. Saw him on the Senior Bowl field. He's matching up Roman Wilson against Mitchell, the Toledo corner. He's very hands-on with scouting, college in particular. Takes these guys to dinner. More so than just about any head coach out there. And he's good at it. And from what I understand, he has a strong presence in the draft rooms. And he watches tape. And he just doesn't defer to people that he believes in. I mean, so there's behind-the-scene team-building, scouting stuff that he has a great reputation for, and the evidence I've seen backs that up a great deal. Lastly, and again, this could probably be a 2-hour podcast talking about all the Tomlin stuff. He has a presence. He has respect from the league. He has great respect from the league. People want to play for him. People want to work with him. He's considered one of the most respected figures in the NFL. Players, coaches, owners, scouts, front office. When he talks to anyone in the league, they listen and respect him. That doesn't, in most walks of life, that's not common. You know what I mean? There's a few. Whatever you do for a living, whatever you do socially, you know, some people stand out in that regard. And that is 100% true. This is can't kind of like reveal my sources type thing, but it is not uncommon for after a Pittsburgh Steelers game to end, for a player from the other team to run up, shake Tomlin's hand and say something like, "Hey, when I'm a free agent after the year, I don't work for you." You know, like, I promise you those things happen. And players know, you know, game respects game, or whatever that cool saying is. You know, players know. And they want to work with this guy. And the respect and the presence is very, very real. And that matters. It's a masculine sport. Alpha dogs are important. And he's an alpha dog. And I'll end this with how I started it. This is the right move. I fully condone it. All right. Thanks, everyone. I think tomorrow will be mailbag day. So you want to start getting me those, that's great. Unless something else pops. But, that's always been one of my favorite shows of the week lately. Take care.